Hello everyone, I am Andrea Louis with the Channel 5 News, back with the details after this.
Do you need more cash for that home improvement? Then come to Fast Cash, where we give you more. At Fast Cash, our customers get more funds and more time to repay. But wait, can't come to us? We'll come to you, and our mobile officer will get you on your way. Small businesses, consumers, and taxi owners. Fast Cash has more for everyone. Simply call or visit any of our locations for more. Smarter, faster, better. Fast Cash. Terms and conditions apply.
Thank you for staying with us. First up, partners at Tuesday's Donors Conference in New York had an opportunity to demonstrate their support for Dominica's vision of becoming the world's first climate-resilient nation. Julian Morris has that story.
The Prime Minister says there is significant buy-in into the vision which he has articulated. Government will create a climate-resilient execution agency to help implement that strategy and that vision for the world's first climate-resilient country in the world. Mr. Skerritt says there is tremendous support from partners for this idea. DFID and the UNDP are instrumental in putting the literature together on this project. The Chinese have already committed $38 million to Dominica, which could go to reconstruct schools or health centers. Government continues to engage the Chinese for more assistance in other critical areas, including construction of a new cruise ship village and a new port. Besides the execution agency, there'll also be an oversight committee made up of donors and partners. Another governance level to include 2 members of the parliamentary opposition and 2 government members and Attorney General will also be implemented. That joint parliamentary committee will report to Parliament. The Prime Minister says before the structure is finalized, the public will be engaged. Julian Morris reporting for Channel 5 News.
In other news, as insurance companies respond to claims, Idonadram Baptist reports on commercial insurance coverage in the wake of Hurricane Maria.
Like many other institutions, the work continues to intensify for the insurance sector as they too have to respond to the hurricane's devastation due to economic loss on properties. Their intervention applies to the business interruption aspect, which is a type of insurance that covers the loss of income a business suffers after a disaster. For Beacon Insurance, 30% of its insurance portfolio covers the business sector.
I haven't seen one business who have reported a claim, and when you go in there, it's just about mopping the floor. I mean, when you get into these businesses, you're talking about the removal of debris. Stock just has to be thrown away. There's very few locations we have visited where stock were able to be saved. What would be insured under what is referred to, some people refer to it as business, in some jurisdictions it's called business interruption. The jurisdiction is referred to as consequential loss insurance. So what the company is seeking to insure against is the loss in revenue from one year to the other year. So you have the gross profit that's covered. You have because you're going to have to maintain your staff. Yeah, and you're going to have to pay them salaries, you're going to have to be cleaning up, and things have to be done in terms of business and continuity. So you're going to be paying your wages and salaries, your standing charges, your commitment to the bank, suppliers that has to be paid. And again, for your statutory obligation, your auditor fees, because you'll have to complete an audit as at the said financial year.
Once the insured notifies of its loss, the insurance company appoints an adjuster to guide the insured on the requirements for making a claim.
You want to see your financials, your last year financials, your projected financial, particularly the management accounts, current management accounts, all of those will form part of his claim. And in most cases, what the adjuster would recommend is what is referred to as an interim payment. So if the client has $1 million loss, so you may recommend that $300,000, maybe about 30% as an interim payment, and that is generally used to facilitate cleanups and continuity as the focus of it.
Even if the volume of sales for a business expects to drop or operations are at a standstill, while a company recovers from the disaster, its commitments to the bank continue.
In terms of going forward and continuity, most businesses, their coverage period starts somewhere around the 1st of July, most of them their financial year ends at the 30th of June, or at the end of December. So most of them, their policies are current and they have not indicated any difficulties in either going forward. And I would assume by then their claims would have been settled, so they'd be in a position so that they can, in terms of renew their policies. The ability to continue, not to continue, it's not so much of a concern. I think our response, what we have done is to ensure that we have done everything reasonable possible to ensure their continuity, because their continuity is also a benefit to us. So this is where we have developed the aggressive model of interim payments. We recognize, there are some businesses who are going to have to downsize or right size in order to continue. We'll work with them. The challenge as a business will always face, if in terms of your business interruption or your consequential loss coverage, in order that it becomes fully payable in terms of your claim, you would have to prove to the insurance company that there's continuity of your business. So if there's no continuity, although there's a level of settlement, but it's going to be significantly truncated to the fact that you're no longer going to continue in business. I can't recall any business who have blatantly said to me that they're not continuing. I know most of them are challenged.
On the issue of looting, it's already defined in policies as an event which will not be compensated.
Well, all business interruption policy, it comes as an exclusion, as a special endorsement that the insurance company passes on to the client to advise the client that following a loss caused by an insured peril, that looting is clearly excluded. Now, in most cases, you may say, why? The critical issue about a loss from an insurance point of view is that you must have the ability to prove the loss. Yeah? And the difficulty with looting is that you just can't prove it. So if you have $2 million in stock, yeah, and the stock is flooded, you can appoint an adjuster. He could go in and he could verify, based on your records, based on his observation, he could see that there's a resemblance of $2 million that's lost. If you indicated you had $2 million worth of stock and they were looted, when you come to this warehouse, what you're likely to meet, an empty shelf warehouse. And from an insurance point of view, it is difficult to set up a coverage that you yourself can approve.
Christmas is a time of economic activity in Roseau, but this year things could be different. Kenny Williams tells us why.
Acting Deputy Chief of Police says lifting of the curfew depends on a number of things and is not within the power of the Dominica Police Force.
The curfew begins at 10 p.m. and ends at 5 a.m. daily. The curfew is to ensure that a level of security is maintained in and around the city. And as you're aware, it is the areas that we now have enforcing the curfew order is from Loubier to the south, to Checkhall in the north, and to Capitol in the east. Now these are areas in and around Roseau, and so it is necessary that we continue to monitor the security conditions. As you know, Roseau was looted, and the security issue the issue of maintaining security in Roseau was very critical. And therefore, if we are to utilize any measures that could consider lifting curfew, it would have to be based on the security situation in and around the city. And if we are saying that the authorities would have to depend on an assessment, an analysis of our situation, our security situation in and around Roseau, and having received reports in that regard, a determination could be made to lift or not, but that does not lie with the police. So as to whether there will be the curfew order will be lifted, I cannot say at this stage.
Although curfew hours have been enforced here, provision has been made for civilians to access areas under watch through permits accessible from the office of the Chief of Police. Meantime, it has been over 2 months since Hurricane Maria devastated the Nature Isle and left many business places vulnerable to looting. Valerie says the Dominica Police Force, together with regional forces, have come a long way in controlling illegal activities that followed the September 18 hurricane.
Things have improved tremendously. We do not have any more looting. The streets have been patrolled, and thanks to the assistance of our regional officers, police officers and army that came in, and they are still here, augmenting our patrols and so on. But the streets are certainly safe. The business is coming back to some form of normalcy. We are seeing the city getting up, lighted again, and some normalcy is taking place. So things are much better than the few days after the hurricane. So we expect, if it continues and if our people, the citizens and residents continue to obey the law of the land, continue to obey the curfew order, because the curfew order is what helps us to ensure that while people are at their homes at nights and while people are about their lawful business, that people and others are not violating the restrictions of being out there at late hours. Once people can adhere to the order, then it is a good signal that we are ready, that Dominicans are ready, and the conditions could be reviewed for further determinations.
And that was Acting Deputy Chief of Police, Davidson Valerie. I am Kenny Williams, reporting for Channel 5 News.
And a community relocated after Tropical Storm Erica describes that 2015 storm as a blessing before Hurricane Maria. Following Tropical Storm Erica in 2015, 2 communities were deemed uninhabitable, namely Pititsavan and Dubic. The government of Venezuela promised 300 Petro Casas to Dominica for its housing resettlement program. 50 of those Petro Casas were constructed in Center Grand Bay for the community of Dubic. Dubic residents moved into their new homes in 2016. Channel 5 News visited the area recently to hear from Dubic residents on their Hurricane Maria experience at their new home.
Oh, that was terrible. Seeing that 2 years ago that we came from Erica and to just go into our new homes to receive Maria, that was terrible. That's terrible for me. I could not, I didn't know how to do it. There are not even words I could say to explain.
So you were in the housing center when Maria hit?
No, we went to a shelter because they advised that we should not weather the storm up there, so we went to a shelter. But coming home, back home to see the devastation and to see the place and to see the house is like, not again. Am I going back to a shelter life again? You know, it was very emotional.
So right now, are you in a shelter or are you at home?
Well, right now we're at home. We try to patch up with tarpaulins or what may be, just to bring you a sense of comfort. There is no other shelter we could be in, so right now we are just trying to cope home until the government can do whatever it can with housing again.
Can you describe this scene in Center on the morning of 19th September, the morning after the hurricane? What was it like up there?
Oh my God, it was terrible. It was heartbreaking. Honestly, it was hard because it was touching. It was really touching to see that you were relocated and just got a new home. I mean, you just got a new home 2 years after, and just to cherish your home and coming home to see. I started to cry and they told me, Nada, don't cry. And I said, leave me alone. I can't take that again, you know. So it was very emotional for us.
Okay, and your family and friends, how are they doing?
Well, they are fine, thank God. We're all alive. We're okay. No, it's all right. We have life.
What do you see as the way moving forward from Maria?
Well, seeing that we have life, we have to cope and do what we can to move forward. You know, build better, you know, just keep it flowing. We cannot sit down and think we are going to get ourselves sick. We don't want to get sick. We don't want to have a sick population. So we're just going to do what we have to do to stay strong.
And how long did it take you to patch your house back together after the hurricane?
Well, not long, because seeing that I really wanted to be in there, not a shelter. We got the guys, you know, on board, put galvanage, put tarpaulin, what maybe, these maybe 2 days after to stay in our home self, because we did not want to go back to shelter again. Honestly, for me, I don't like a shelter life.
Any message you want to leave with us? Anything you want to say you feel we should know we didn't ask about?
Well, not really. It's just glad. I'm just glad that you all are passing to know how a person feels. I mean, talking sometimes relieves you, right, from stress and everything. To see that people out there care, people out there hear what happened to each other. I mean, none of us didn't call for that, but we are all affected.
Maria? Oh, my God, it was brutal. Eh? It was brutal. Yeah, it was really rough. Up till now it's rough because no work yet, no income for the time, you know. I have 2 kids there, one 7 years, one 7 months, you know. So I just taking it easy, you know.
What happened to the house in which you're staying in Center?
Oh, the galvanized fly away, the partition on stick, you know, and it's been leaking up till now.
So where were you staying during the hurricane?
I just seen a child downstairs.
And when you came back to Center, what was it like?
Oh, what I could say. Like what? Well, I had to just take it easy. I had to do what I had to do, cover it back. And when it rains, you have to be in a corner because the whole house is flooding on rain.
What do you normally do? I mean, you said no income. What job were you employed with?
Construction I just do. I do construction, but you had no cement yet, no steel yet, no sand, no stone. So the little money I save, I have to be using it.
I understand that. No, you were in Dubic when Tropical Storm Erica hit and in Granby when Hurricane Maria hits. Can you compare these two weather systems?
Well, Erica was a sign, I will say, because Erica had to happen for them to relocate us. Because if it wasn't that, all of us would have finished in Dubic. By Maria, if you go to Dubic, nobody will live in Dubic. Maria had to take us in Dubic. But thanks God, they relocate us to Center. But it's the best place for us to Center. Dubic was in the right place.
How have you been spending your days after Maria?
Well, I sit there sometimes whole day, take a bath, I'll save my kids. Mostly every day, that is what I do. All we have to do now is pray, you know, and just take it easy. People don't have to stress themselves because of Maria. You know what I mean? You just take it easy one day at a time. It could be worse. Because if it wasn't just in our child's people, some people live in their home, and when they break, they was red like pepper, you know, and they say can never live in the house, you know. Oh, it's the toilet that serves them. Yeah. So all we can do is just pray. Pray for the government to help us is all. And he can help everybody. So if you can help yourself, you help yourself.
Now, before we get into the night of the storm, what sort of preparatory activities happened or messages were given to the people in terms of possibly moving before Maria was set to hit Dominica?
Well, as you know, much people didn't really pay interest to the information that was given. But when it was about 6, we went around and asked people to move, and then the people decided to move.
Where did they move to?
We moved to our family home. Some people moved to the Pal Rep home, Nurse Charles home. Some people moved to the community center.
Now, during Maria, where were you and what was that like for you personally?
I went to my uncle downstairs, but it wasn't easy. The rain was coming in. It's like the wind was trying to open the door. It was just rough. It was rough.
And what sort of stories have you heard from other Dubic residents in Granby? How did they fare during the storm?
Well, some people went to Nurse Charles home, as I told you, and then the wind was opening the door, water was coming in, windows started breaking. People felt like the building was about to get broken down. So the people were screaming, crying. Who was praying, but they keep together and make it through.
And when you returned to Center, your settlement in Center the morning after the hurricane, what was the scene like in Center?
Oh my God, people started crying, screaming. We could not believe, just at least after 2 years, we are going back to scratch again. So it was hard. It was hurting. It was a bit hurting. So people was crying. People could not believe it. So we just say, we'll get there, man. We just decided, don't give up faith. We will build back and we'll be back better.
And the Petro Casas, what were the status of them?
Oh my God, I could not believe. It wasn't good at all. I wouldn't say it wasn't good. I mean, I guess they will learn from their mistake. It wasn't done properly. No steel, just and so I believe now they see the mistake, and I'm hoping that they will do them a bit better.
Did the roof blow off? Did the walls fall down? What happened?
Yeah, we had Now, if you notice, some of the buildings are still standing, but you have to be inside to notice what's going on, because some of them are without partition are split. People are still sleeping in them with fear because nowhere to go. When the wind blows, people have to wake and sit. You have to put your buckets to shelter your water. And it is rough. If you look at it on the outside, you'll never say, but you have to be inside to notice the level of damage.
Okay. And now it's approximately 2 months after the storm. What is the mood like among the people in Center?
Well, the couple days after Erica, people was really down and out, but now people are hopeful because we are alive, and we are hoping that everything is going to get better. We know that things are going to get better and we'll build back better.
And what are the plans for the Enhancement Committee for helping the Dubic people?
Well, we are here working. The National Employment Program is still going on there, so we are keeping the community clean, beautiful, and we are waiting to hear from government what are their plans for us, and we know things will get better. Things will definitely get better.
Okay, now you were in Dubic when Tropical Storm Erica hit us 2 years ago, and you were in Grand Bay at your uncle's house for Maria. Can you compare these two weather systems for me, the experience of the two of them?
With Erica was nothing to compare with Maria. If you go back to Dubic presently, like after Erica, we could go back to Dubic to do certain things, but now there's no more Dubic. So I believe Erica was a blessing, so we could move, because I believe if we had to stay there for Erica, everybody in Dubic would be dead by now. It's terrible.
And any message you want to leave for our viewers? Any words of encouragement to your people or message to the viewing public?
Well, don't give up hope. Everything, you're alive and well, and everything will definitely get better.
And we just heard from some Dubic residents recounting their Hurricane Maria experience at their new home in Center Grand Bay. Reporting for Channel 5 News, I am Andrea Louis.
M&J Covering is the producer of designed galvanized and galvalume in Dominica. They design to your specifications, color and length, 4 styles of galvanized and galvalume pre-painted roofing sheets as requested, and supply all your galvalume accessories. M&J Covering helps you control spending and reduce waste. At M&J Covering, they are also equipped to build your roof to precise standards anywhere on island. So come to M&J Covering at 1 Mile in Portsmouth, or call 445-5001 275-5003 today.
You have been watching the Channel 5 News. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2kpod.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Andrea Lee, and to all of our viewers around the world, thank you so much for watching. Join us tomorrow.